Hello class. Today we are going to cover inverse functions. An inverse relation simply switches the input and the output values of the original relation. This means the domain and range get swapped. To be able to do this, we simply trade every x value for its y value. For instance, we have f inverse of, we'll have to find the f inverse of the following relation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, -2, and -1. So we have 4 points. The first number uh, indicates the x value, while the second number is your y value. So we just simply switch the x values will be replaced by the y value, and the y value will be replaced by the x value to be able to find the inverse of this relation. That means the first point, 1, 2, will become 2, 1. And then the second point, which is 3, 4, will then become 4, 3. So we're just switching the x value for its y value. 6, 7 will be 7, 6. And then finally, the last one, the y value is -1, so it becomes the new x value. And the x value was -2, and it becomes the new y value. Okay. Now, how do we know if an inverse is a function? Well, in the past, we know that a function, uh, we can be able to determine whether a set of values is a function or an equation is a function when we graph it, and then we use the vertical line test. With the vertical line test, if the line hits 2 or more points, then we say that it did not pass the vertical line test and the graph is not a function. Okay, so let's say here we are given the points 1, 2, 2, 1, 3, 4, and 5, 1 as indicated in the first graph here. So this is our first graph for the f of x. And then the f inverse or the inverse function is going to be this graph. All right. Now, do you agree that the first graph passes the vertical line test? However, the second graph, which is the inverse, does not pass the vertical line test. As indicated here, we have this vertical line. See how it passes through 2 points? So it does not pass the vertical line test. So here we agree. You say we agree. Well, to be able to test the inverse, whether it is indeed a function or not, instead of using the vertical line test, we will be using the horizontal line test. All right, so for regular functions, we test using the vertical line test. And for the inverse function, we use the horizontal line test. So let's say given a graph, if a horizontal line hits the points more than once, then the inverse is not a function. Let's look at the following. Let's say here, let's test whether this is going to be, for A, whether it is going to be a function or not. So since this is an inverse of a function, we will use the horizontal line test. Supposing I'm going to draw a horizontal line in here. See how it hits 3 points? So in this case, this is not a function, right? So this is not a function. How about this one? Let's have a horizontal line and test whether it is a function or not. See how when we place a horizontal line anywhere in the graph, it's not going to have, it's not going to hit 2 points. So we may say that this is a function. Okay, now moving on to the next one. So in here we have a v-shaped absolute value function, and let's have a horizontal line test. See how the horizontal line hits 2 points. So in this case, this is not a function. Okay, all right. Now, what if instead of a graph, we are given equations? Now, if we look at the following equations, let's say in A, this is a linear function, a linear equation. So since it is linear, it's going to be, it's going to resemble a shape like this. Okay, wherein it has a y-intercept of 1 and the slope is 3/4. It's a positive slope, so it's rising from left to right. So given this shape of the graph, we will do the horizontal line test. So supposing I'm going to have the horizontal line, which is in yellow. See how this is also, see how it is also a function because it only hits the graph once. So this is a function. We say it is yes. And how about the second one? In letter B, we have x squared minus 3. This is a quadratic function. With quadratic function, it's going to um, resemble a parabola. Okay? I can be able to show you how to use your calculator to see how the graph will look like. So we will just simply use the um, the y equals in here to be able to plot or graph. Let's start with the second one. So we have x squared minus 3, and then we hit graph in here. All right. So here's how the graph looks like. It's a parabola. So since it is a parabola, And when we use a horizontal line test, it is going to hit 2 points. Okay, so we say in this case, it is not a function. Okay, all right, so the next one is an absolute value function. So it will have a V shape this time. Okay, so to be able to do that, we'll go to math in here and then num. So math function is right here. Then we go to num and then use the first option, which is abs, for the absolute value. So we'll have what? X minus 4, absolute value of x minus 4. Then we hit graph. Okay, so the minus 4 moves it to the right 4 times. And we have a V shape. So with a V shape, and then let's have the horizontal line test. It's going to hit 2 points. So we therefore say this is not a function. All right.